25th anniversary of the RAF marked the first occasion that units of the Royal Air Force mounted guard at Buckingham Palace. The anniversary also dated the occasion of His Majesty's first entry into the service on April the 1st, 1918. In the 25 intervening years, the King was able to see the youngest arm of Britain's fighting forces slowly develop into the mightiest striking force the world has ever seen. The Royal Air Force is the King's own service, and so in the first edition of the Gen, we of the service would like to record our thanks for his unfailing interest in us. We deeply appreciate the visits of His Majesty to our stations. We hope that the warmth of our welcomes in the past will encourage him to visit us ever more frequently in the future. Just a row of ordinary-looking tents far up in the wake of the desert battle. They represent an advanced dressing station, where ambulances bringing in casualties are lined up awaiting their turn. Here in the midst of blood and sand, delicate hands are at work, which with the help of the finest apparatus available, perform miracles in the art of surgery by day and night. Inside this tent, which is a hospital, X-ray plates are examined to accurately locate a bullet which has entered the knee of one of the wounded. The surgeon or squadron leader puts on his prophylactic mask and goes through the usual functions before starting an operation. Kept on the go with seldom a moment for relaxation, the desert doctors ease the pain of the wounded, and with only a canvas top between them and a scorching sun, and within earshot of the battle nearby, they go to work. Advanced dressing stations like these, placed within 3 miles of the front line, have been the means of saving thousands of men's lives. By the immediate treatment of their wounds, long convalescence and slow recovery is reduced to a minimum. The teamwork of the medical staff throughout is superb. The wounded man is examined again. He has already been anesthetized by injection. However, it is necessary for him to receive continuous gas and oxygen while the operation is in progress. The operation has been successful, and the surgeons remove their operating clothes. They take a last look at the patient. Outside, a line of ambulances wait ready to take casualties from advanced dressing stations like these to the base hospitals. Most of these cars are taking the men back to their units, but the last three turn off the road on their way to the aerodrome. Here, large Bombay transports, converted into air ambulances, wait to take these, the more seriously wounded, back to the base hospitals. This man, who has been operated on but requires a transfusion, is accompanied by an orderly holding a portable transfusion apparatus. A less serious casualty is able with slight assistance to make his own way. When all are safely aboard, the aircraft takes off and is soon speeding on its way to a destination far from the scene of hostilities. Here, watched over by Princess Mary's Royal Air Force nursing sisters, in sunshine and amid beautiful surroundings, the wounded recover. All of them hoping as soon as possible to get back and have another go at the Hun. Pilot Officer Cody, just landing in his fighter, for bringing down his first Hun during a visit to his station by the King and Queen. When the warning sounded, Cody and a companion took off to intercept the raiders. A Ju-88 paid the penalty of intrusion. The officer is seen being congratulated by his fellow comrades in the usual way. This old French hotel keeper, for being imprisoned in Algiers by the Vichy government for his pro-British views. A veteran of the last war, he has handed over his mountain hotel for the use of aircrew on 48-hour rest leave from duty. You see him showing an Austrian gun, captured by him in 1917, to some of the boys who are taking advantage of his hospitality.
Vive la France!
Wing Commander Pickard, ace bomber pilot who has recently been awarded a second bar to his DSO. Pickard will be remembered for his part in the film Target for Tonight, when he played the pilot of the memorable F for Freddy. Madame Pavlichenko, recent visitor to an RAF fighter station. This lady accounted for over 300 Germans while sniping for the Red Army. In her message to you, she says, "I wish you work and more work. So if any of you want a quiet life, here's your chance." A band of the 6th New Zealand Brigade plays on the main football ground at Tripoli. You might think this is a cup final. It is, but with a difference. The crowd of uniformed men are about to see a football match which in importance and historical interest makes a British Cup final fade into insignificance. The opposing teams of the RAF Western Desert Cup final, representing a communications flight and an RAF fighter wing, run onto the ground. The league matches leading up to the final had been played in the Western Desert and Libya during lulls in the fighting. But these men, all of whom had taken part in the advance from El Alamein to Tripoli, swore that the final would be played at the Tripoli Stadium and nowhere else. In the presence of Italians and Senussi inhabitants, who incidentally welcome football as a change from fascist pomp and Nazi parades, and in peacetime cup final atmosphere, the match is played and history is made. Prussians' flight won the day by 4 goals to 1. Their centre forward, a player in the Kent League in peacetime, scoring twice. Air Vice Marshal Broadhurst, DSO, DFC, AFC, commanding the air striking force in Tripolitania, presented the cup and medals to the winners.
I said, now can I have a 48, sir?
And now, believe it or not, the local Italian team has challenged the winners. What a country, what a world. The pilot of the Typhoon in the picture is circling around to jettison his petrol, being unable to lower his undercarriage. The Gen was lucky enough to have a cameraman present to film this remarkable exclusive picture. In a moment you will see the machine make a perfect belly landing. The pilot calmly discusses his ordeal with other members of his squadron. The British will never go without their sport, and here amongst the roar of battle in Tripolitania, airmen take a smack at each other in an improvised boxing ring. Fighting fit, these boys are egged on in the usual manner by their companions, in a spirit of friendly rivalry. He's had it, agrees the CO, marking him up for a 252. The Mustang is in the news again. This machine gained fame as a locomotive buster and was one of the originators of intruder patrols. It is also the only Allied fighter to have penetrated the land of the Third Reich. Fast and maneuverable, the Mustang is now being modified for use as a dive bomber. This is what an intruder plane looks like at the receiving end. Meet leading aircraftman Chapek, or in English, Spotty, who has taken part in night bombing raids on Berlin, Hamburg, Cologne, Stettin and Bremen. Most popular member of a Polish bombing squadron, he has been mentioned in the special order of the day by the Polish Commander-in-Chief. Where Chapek came from, nobody seems to know. But just over 2 years ago, he arrived half-starved at a training station, from whence he was transferred to his present unit with the squadron. Officially enlisted as an AC-2, he has now been promoted to LAC. During the briefing of the Polish squadron for their first raid, incidentally on Berlin, Chapek was present. When they arrived at their bombers, Chapek was already installed and refused to get out, so he went with them. Over enemy territory, he was given oxygen, just like the rest of the crew, and over Berlin, he took up his post by the bomb aimer. After that, he made many operational trips. Chapek always attends roll call, taking up his position in the ranks. And as his name is called out, he barks. Well, for the moment, cheerio, Chapek. Good luck and good hunting. Gibraltar. What vital help this piece of solid rock has rendered the United Nations, history alone will reveal. In the meantime, however, let us see an industry which has made Gibraltar one of the most important centers of our supply routes to the Middle East and North African campaigns. Out of the holds of ships just arrived from Britain, large crates are unloaded onto trailers waiting below. Inside, packed tight, are component parts of the latest type of that remarkable aircraft, the Spitfire. Tractor and trailer lose no time and are soon speeding on their way to the compound, where other aircraft are to be seen in various stages of construction. A check is made as the crates are positioned for unloading. First, the fuselage is pulled out and put on a trestle by the Spitfire erection party, the unit responsible for the whole job. While the fuselage is being fixed, other men unpack the main planes. And still more are at work on the propeller. The unit are renowned for their teamwork, and the speed with which the job is done is truly amazing. The aircraft, when they arrive, have their engines installed and the tailplane on. The rest of the components are fitted here. The time taken up to the present scene is approximately 10 minutes. From here, the machine is moved into another compound where all pipes and wires are joined and the armament installed, after which ammunition is brought and the cannons are tested. last of all, the aircraft is seen in the running up department. And passing out with colours, joins the long line of waiting Spitfires for the final test in the air. Men of a crack African squadron await below to fly the aircraft straight to the field of operations, wherever they are most needed. And so ends another story, in which Gibraltar proves again the vital part she is playing in the war against bestiality. Do you remember him? Yes, it's Max Smelling. Last time you saw him in the news, he was being battered to pulp by Joe Louis in one of the shortest fights in history. Once again, he is on the losing side, training as a parachutist for his new manager, Adolf Hitler, the man who has tried to mismanage the world in his own brutal way. These pictures come from a captured German newsreel and were calculated to increase the popularity of this service by showing the German boxing champion going through his paces. Was reported killed in the battle for Crete, but it is known that he survived to prolong the agony. And so once more he is in the losing corner of the ring. When he fought Joe Louis, there was a slim chance of victory. Against democracy, none. The purse for this match represents in its simplest form decency, and as such is beyond the grasp of men like these. Now, Schmeling, if he has not already fallen a victim, waits for the world's chief fight promoter to throw in the towel. Maybe it'll be thrown out again.